should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken when Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered.
It was cold that night, not like yesterday, much, much worse than yesterday. The kind of winter day in New Jersey that just makes you hate New Jersey. The thermometer was hovering right at about freezing, rain was coming down, freezing on every surface, and a bone-chilling wind.
Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged, and who was expecting a child.
Joe and Mary had been driving for days, hoping to make it back to family in Brooklyn. The pickup truck they were driving had more rust than paint. Sort of like my old pickup truck, maybe worse. It was held together with duct tape and more than a little prayer. The truck broke down on Route 22 in Union. They managed to get off the road into a parking lot of this really sketchy motel, Garden State Motor Lodge. It's a real place, it's up there. Reviewers use words like terrifying, scary, cheap. In Brooklyn, people knew Mary was very pregnant, and they knew that the baby wasn't Joe's. That was hard for Joe, but he was determined to stick by her. Mary had told him a story that was beyond belief. Joe wanted to believe, but just couldn't. Yet he still believed in Mary, if not her story. It was a really crazy story. Mary told him that she had been visited by an angel. Yeah, okay. Joe was crazy in love with Mary, the kind of love that can make a guy really stupid. He was all in.
While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn.
Their truck was going nowhere tonight. And as sketchy as the Garden State Motor Lodge looked, they had no alternatives. There was a sign that said office, but the door was locked. They could see a light inside in the back, so they knocked on the door. And knocked on the door. And then banged on the door. Finally, a surly-looking guy, unshaven, but at least he had the talent of holding a bottle of beer and a cigarette in one hand and to be able to alternate between them.
Step away from the door! Step away from the door! You don't gotta go home. You just can't stay here. No vacancy.
Joe pleaded his case through the locked door. Jerry, the innkeeper, or desk clerk, neither one of those terms really just didn't quite fit the image. Seeing Mary's obvious pregnancy, her threadbare winter coat couldn't even button, took pity on them. He repeated that he had no rooms, but he would let them stay the night in the laundry room if they promised not to make a mess. After all, it is Christmas Eve.
In that region, There were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night.
There were other guests in the motel that cold and dreary winter night. Somehow, the word had spread among a few of the frequent guests. Soon there was a knock on the laundry room door. Joe opened it a crack and was greeted by a very underdressed woman. You know, short skirt, fishnet stockings, ample pants. She told them that her name was Angel, and she offered them a blanket. When she saw Mary's bulging belly, she said, "Wait, right here, like never going anyplace?" Soon she returned with her friend Ruby. Ruby worked as the motel's housekeeper in exchange for a room. She brought a box of diapers that her now 3-year-old daughter no longer needed. Soon a trucker, Frank, also stranded by the weather, showed up. Frank felt bad because he had rented the last room available to shelter him and his dog Ace. So he gave Joe and Mary a few dollars. He figured he could always sleep in his truck a night or two on his way back to the West Coast.
Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around him, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. For to you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those whom he favors."
Angel remembered when she had had a baby and could tell that Mary was ready to pop.
When the angels had When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go down to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger.
Sure enough, Mary went into labor that Christmas Eve. The baby came fast. Joe was there to catch him and cut the umbilical cord. I'm personally having flashbacks to my grandson Patrick, who was born in 40 minutes at home on the bathroom floor. Mary appropriated some of the clean towels on the shelves and made a bed for her baby and wrapped him snugly and warm on that cold and dark night.
When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about this child, and all who had heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them.
Joe looked down at the new baby and knew he had done the right thing sticking with Mary.
But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart.
Mary said nothing, but her smile said all that needed to be said.
The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told them.
You may find this story hard to believe, but it is a true story that they all felt warm and safe that night. Joe, Mary, the new baby, Angel, and all the help that cold and wet New Jersey night. People may tell you it was only a rumor, but you should listen to rumors of such joy.